Welcome back, Danton.
Good to be back.
Yeah, I think you're my first return guest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's good to be.
I feel like you have like so much going on, so much like exciting things happening.
Yeah, I'm doing too much at once. Like I'm running the lab. I also am promoting, fundraising for Douche Rehab, which is our first like limited series that we're releasing. We're considering, because we're putting in so much effort, like we were going to make it a limited series, 7 episodes, one and done.
Yeah.
But now it's like, all right, it's been so much effort, we might as well just try to do a season 2 as well.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, yeah. Like luckily we have the last episode to write, so it's like, well, we can, leave it open ended a bit.
Yeah.
Like, throw an extra little goose egg in there, or an Easter egg for the season 2.
Yeah. Well, what do you want to talk about first? I feel like there's so many things going on.
I don't know, Douche Rehab, like, I guess we can talk about, like, why, and,
Well, how about this? Is the first season out?
No. So
okay.
we're fundraising right now. We're in the middle of fundraising. Fundraiser ends June 7th. We're fundraising for the first season.
Gotcha. Okay, so how about we start with this? Tell me like the minimal amount of what you can tell me about Douche Rehab without giving it away.
Yeah.
So this is your show.
Yeah. So it's a Toronto-based like sitcom following 4 like queer douchebags.
Okay.
That are forced into an AA-style program that is meant to make them better people.
Okay.
I run the program, so I'm like the program leader and everything, and they hate every step of the way.
Okay.
So it's 7 episodes of them really trying not to get with the program.
Okay.
And like plotting and scheming for ways to not be better people, and it's great. It's great. Like it's fun to watch them go through like an unwanted transformation a bit.
And who in the I got an itchy ear. Who because you picked all comics, Toronto comics, to be on the show. And you don't have to answer this, but like, who did you go with and why?
Well, so we've got. I'll list everybody we got. So we got Ava Val, formerly Al Val.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Foad HP, Bones Poley, and Cliff Knight.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose all of them specifically, largely because like I wanted to know who I was writing for. Just because for me, it's easier to write a character for something like this if I know who's going to play them. And
oddly enough, it's all not douchey people.
Yeah, no, they're not douchey people, but they have the capacity to play these characters.
Oh, of course.
And so it's like I'm taking a certain portion of their character and just making it a whole caricature.
Yes.
Like just blowing it the fuck up and being like, yeah, you're really just this thing and the worst version of it.
Yeah. Well, that's comedy, right? The most exaggerated, inappropriate version.
Exactly.
Love it. Yeah.
Well, because like Cliff, he's in the show is like a Lothario, sleeps with everybody, will fuck your girlfriend kind of situation. Like he doesn't give a fuck about relationships or titles, and everybody is fair game.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like it's like to an extent, it's like Cliff is bi, but he's not. Like that.
Yeah.
Like, he's not that crazy about it. But like, so it's like it's taking that and just making it an extreme, right?
Yeah.
And so it's what I saw with these people and the characters they play on stage sometimes, and kind of how I've seen their comedy lend them towards acting. I'm like, well, then you could definitely do this role. It's perfect for you.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to kind of like choose them, even like at the beginning stage. Like I had written the pilot, and then I was like, all right, best is you guys, and like. They're great because they're all on the come up for like their own shit, right? And so it's awesome because like this is at a perfect time for all of them, where it's like, this is a project we all get to be a part of, get an IMDb credit, and fucking like it's right before because Ava's looking to go to the States, and make her next big move there, and so it's like it'll be like her last big project in Canada before she takes off, kind of deal, which will be perfect because it'll be like, all right, this will be coming out right when she's trying to make waves in the States, and be like, I did this project, it's huge, hopefully we get a lot of following fanfare for it, because like we're trying to build a community around the show and around like the project as a whole. Just because like our whole mission with Word Entertainment is to kind of build space for authentic representation in media and entertainment. Just because like I feel like so much of the stuff you see today is like characters like either like they're inauthentic in a lot of ways, like they're just not written by the community.
Yeah, well, like, and that was going to be my next question because, like, there's like the whole Disney effect of like this whole like make her a woman and make her gay, and it seems like there's an element to this what you see in diversity on TV in the sense of like it seems contrived.
Yeah,
Right? Like it's because I don't think like we were watching Blade in the 90s. Nobody gave a shit that he was black. Right? Like nobody thought that we were having it rammed down our throats, but but there's an element to that that's happening now. So was there something about that you wanted to correct?
Yeah, no, I feel like a lot of it is forced and a lot of it is unintentional in the way that like it is intentional to put this character there, but it's not thought through. Like the people writing that character aren't, anybody with that kind of experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like for example, like to go with like the Disney effect, right? Like even with like some of their last couple projects, like Encanto, and they did like another one that was
Wish or something was the one.
Yeah, it was like something else, like Latin American leaning, right?
Yeah.
Like, and both of those were written by white people. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like you get somebody from the community to write the project, and like then it'll ring a lot more authentic when you go through. Like, not somebody who just traveled through the region once, but like, somebody with actual emotions and ties. Like, but no. They just, they're like, okay, this is what we want to try. And then they get mad when people are like, well, I didn't really like that because that doesn't really ring true to my experience. And Disney's like, well, then, minorities don't really want to be main characters. They don't care. And it's like, no, that's not it. Like, we just want characters that are actual, real characters that we can relate to. People that seem like they come from the community, not just a caricature of the community.
Yeah.
And so, like, even for, like, especially for, like, the queer community, like, the sassy gay best friend is like, I'm not saying that, that is not a part of the community, but not every character needs to be that. And so, like, this show is just for people who happen to be queer. Like, they're douchebags first.
Yeah. So okay, and so that's that was going to be my next question. Is like, is this a show that like somebody like me could watch?
Yeah. No, it's a show for everybody.
Yeah.
It's about the humanity of all of us. Like we all have douchey tendencies. We all have things that we could work on, and so that's what this show is trying to kind of shine light on. It's like nobody's complete, nobody's perfect. Right? Like even me, like you see my flaws in the show. As like the leader of the group. Like, so I'm the one trying to be the example, and like you still see like me grapple with my own stuff. And so it's the humanity of like even people trying to be better still have to try. Like it's not something that you accomplish and then one day you're done. Like there is effort that has to be put into it. And so with this project, like I was just like, I want to make something that at least attempts to make the world a little better. And like we're coming at it with a very cheeky lens, but like I don't know. Like it's one of those things where it's like we can all look at the moments of humanity and douchiness and be like,
and then
through that.
Who did you write it yourself? Did you collab?
So I'm writing it with Mickey Dykman.
Okay.
Who's also a co-owner of the club and like Word Entertainment. So we're involved in a lot of things together.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and so like it's two queers writing the show, because Mickey's trans and non-binary, and I'm bi. So
well, Mickey we've had on has been on Half-Hearted.
Mickey
That's
has
right.
been on the show. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, no, like they got me this shirt.
I love that shirt.
Yeah, it'll be merch soon. So if you like it, you can buy it. Like so we're trying to get into merch too. Like I'm actually launching a whole brand. Because we're teaming up with Street to Ivy, which is a company out of Boston.
Okay.
And they do a lot of great work in the community doing like outreach work, teaching kids how entrepreneurship works, how to invest, and like how to work with real estate and invest in real estate.
Yeah.
And so just different ways to think about things, like for people who often wouldn't get that kind of exposure.
Yeah.
And so what they've asked us to do is take over their outward facing like sales platform, which is what funds all the stuff that they do. And so we're going to be launching a whole new brand called Authentic, that is going to be like our merch, and so like we'll be making money off of it, but then we'll also be giving the Street to Ivy. It'll be great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What did you, and this is like my own curiosity, is like what did you learn about like producing and creating a show that like you didn't expect?
There's reason why it takes so long. Like I was just like, oh yeah, like because they say like it takes 5 years to make a TV show often, right? Like from idea to like actually being done. And I'm like, nah, it doesn't need to take that long. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, all right, things are a lot slower than you would hope. Like, cause even in making the trailer, right? We shot the trailer at the end of last summer into the fall a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And we came out with like honestly like a short. It was like 8 minutes worth of usable material.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like that looked beautiful. And like we'll be releasing the cinematic trailer, that 8-minute version, right before the end of the campaign.
Yeah.
And it's like it's great, but it's like that took so much longer in post than I thought.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Like I'd never put together anything like that. Like anything I had done before was like, YouTube stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
And like whenever I
stuff on your phone, stuff that you did with your phone, that was the only piece of equipment.
Well, no, like I had a camera, but like, yeah, it was basically, my camera and fucking OBS.
Yeah.
Just like figuring it out from there. Right? And like it was cool because this was the first time that I was like, all right, somebody else is handling most of the editing, like all that. Because I was like, honestly, I don't know how to edit for this kind of thing. Like, not like I know how to edit for internet, really, but like this is something I can actually get people that know what they're doing. And so I was able to recruit a team of people that actually know what the fuck they're doing, and we came out with something beautiful. And so it's like I was able to put a team together to come out with like a beautiful trailer that looks like it had money behind it.
Yeah.
For no money, and like get all these people on board, and it's just like, come on, just give us a little money.
Yeah.
Let me show you what we can do. Like we can do a lot of great things. Like,
So are you trying to like do something with like CBC or like some sort of established?
I mean, we're talking to a couple of queer platforms, actually.
Okay.
A couple of queer streaming platforms, hoping to land with one of them.
Okay.
Just because they've typically got less restraints with what you can do.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Like CBC definitely, like there's too much coke in the show for CBC.
Yeah.
Like CBC Gem, maybe.
Well, I mean, CBC is like, I don't know, because you're newer to Canada, so like I think to me the greatest Canadian television show ever is Kenny versus Penny. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I've heard about it though.
Oh my gosh, it's legendary, so crazy. But they only lasted a single season on CBC before it got picked up by Showcase because they were just so insane, like for CBC, because like CBC is honestly just like it's just a constant stream of the most disappointing, uninspired material you've ever seen in your entire life. Like I remember being a kid in the 90s and they put out I saw the trailer for this show they were putting out called Pit Pony. Like people who like raise horses. There's like, who is this for?
Right?
Who's the market for fucking a pony TV show? Right? Or let's do Anne of Green Gables for the 9th time. Like who is this for?
I mean, right? And then you got shows like Murdoch Mystery that have been on forever and a day, right?
And like, who is watching that?
I don't even know.
Let's do CSI, but 100 years ago and Canadian.
Right?
And somebody's like, yes, that's the show.
Love it. Right? Yeah, it is. I don't even. I have no idea who's in charge over there.
Oh my gosh!
And I'm not mad at you. Like you're watching this, but like
I'm mad at you. I've been mad at you for my entire life.
Yeah, no, it's like I don't know. Because we want to really start a revolution with this whole thing. We're trying so hard to make it an independent project.
Yeah,
and so that's why we're fundraising for it, trying to not have to be like tied to any production studio, because like if we work with the CBC, they're gonna want to take a lot of control.
Yeah,
right. They're gonna want to put a couple of their people in charge and probably take away my executive producer credit. And I'm like, it's mine.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I would rather do it for $20,000.
Yeah, which it's crazy. It's like we know what we're doing. We made Pit Pony.
Yeah, it's like sure you do. You have all of the tech, and that's not what I'm trying to shoot. And like,
yeah, absolutely.
And like I don't want them to be like, oh well, we gave you the money, so you have to do it our way, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd rather be beholden to my audience, which is why I'm trying to get to y'all.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Because like I don't want some corporate guy being like, all right, so you know how everybody's not white? We should change that. We're like, well, but there are a couple white people, but they're queer, so it doesn't count. Like, we'll see. Like,
well, I feel like that's the one thing that CBC would probably be on board with is that it is, of course. But they would probably be like, it's too gay.
That is definitely they would probably. Right,
and we're not. They're okay. We're okay with some gay, but they're all gay. They're all gay.
Everybody's gay.
Yeah, everybody's gay.
I mean, to be fair, like CBC Gem did do sort of, which like I feel like mainly got made because HBO wanted it.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
Because like that was a queer Toronto show, and pretty much most of the people in it were queer.
I'm very upset that I've never been cast as the bad guy in any of these shows. I just
oh no, like you have, I don't know if you have like full bad guy energy. Like
my face is too playful, I suppose.
yeah. You'd be the one who like you said something wrong, and then you'd be like. Like you'd realize it as you said it, kind of thing. I feel like that's the character you'd be cast for.
Yeah, ignorant.
Yeah, just like unwillfully. It's just like you didn't even know. You just had no idea.
I just assumed you had AIDS. I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I that's what I was told. Damn you, Grandpappy.
Yeah, oh yeah, soon enough I'll get to play the ignorant grandpa. That's right. I love that.
Oh, I was saying you're cursing your grandfather for teaching you that, but yeah, same.
No, you know what? This is something because people always assume that my parents or grandparents were racist, but like that was the thing of like my dad, who has many faults, but that was not one of them. He valued hard work too much.
Okay,
right?
Well, yeah.
You work hard. He doesn't care what you look like. He's on board, right? So
that's fair. And
he'll just judge the food you eat.
I mean, you know, the hard work part I get, and like I don't know what it was with like the like North America as a whole, and then like spices coming here, and people be like, oh, that smells weird. I don't know, like I don't like as if we don't have pickles and sauerkraut and shit. Like, but yeah, it's like, oh, so too many spices, curry, got it. Because I mean, it makes some sense. Like, yeah, they're so British in some ways, but then not.
I don't know. Well, I feel like that's all gone. It's all just American fast food.
I mean, yeah,
like it's just as palatable as possible.
So much sugar.
So much sugar. Oh my gosh! I listened to this a podcast about Ozempic. Ozempic, and I was like, and the person talking about it, he wrote a book about it, but he was talking about the phenomena of how processed food affects our bodies and our minds, and essentially that like. They did this experiment with rats, whereas if you just give them natural food, they'll eat until they're full and then they'll stop eating. Yeah. And so, like, you know, if you're just eating a natural food diet, your body will feel satiated and you won't just keep eating all the time. But then, so what they did was they gave them the natural food, but then introduced processed food. And then what happened is the rats only ate the processed food, and then they like immediately they get fat. Like there's this thing where you just with processed food, you don't feel satisfied and you just keep eating. And then what they did was they took the processed food away, and then you would think, oh, well, we'll just go back to the natural food. No, they just didn't eat at all until they were absolutely starving. And then the rats went back to the all natural food.
Wow.
So I'm like, this is me, because it's like when I try to eat healthy, my solution is to not eat better. It's just to eat less.
Yeah.
Just like not eat better food. Just eat less shit food.
Yeah. And I mean, because shit food is so readily available everywhere. Like, I mean, and like there's more like freshies and shit popping up, but like there's so like it's so cheap.
I know.
Comparatively.
Like, anything natural is so much more expensive.
So
and
much.
It's like, yeah, and now I'm like, what do I need to like go to like a campsite for like a week and only give myself natural food? Like, do I need to force myself to like eat healthy again?
Because I mean, it's one of those things where it's like one of the things I loved about living abroad is the difference in food standards. Because North America has some of the most processed food in the world.
Yes.
And so being gone, like I would just lose weight just because of what I was eating.
Yeah.
And like I would naturally eat less, and then you go out to eat, the portions aren't as huge at a restaurant. Like so it's just like you're not even like you don't feel like, because like, you know, I don't know if you grew up in that kind of house where it's like finish your plate. Right?
Oh no, I did, but it was like I'm a picky eater. Like my mom put like applesauce in everything I ate to sweeten it, and so like I became this picky eater. So my parents would be like, finish your plate. And then I would be at the dinner table till like 8 p.m.
See, yeah.
Because I'm like, no. I would do everything I could to hide it. I would like learn tricks, like put a whole bunch in your mouth and then say you got to go to the bathroom, spit out most of it, but leave some in your food because they'll check. This is how crazy I got to just not eat.
I mean, yeah, that is some like espionage level shit.
Oh,
just
dude.
to not eat.
Just to not. Well, and here's the thing: it's like I was being raised by like white parents who actually like legitimately cook terrible food.
I mean,
like, was I supposed to like Captain Highliner? I mean, it's like, oh, starving kids in Africa don't have this. I'm like, put it in a Tupperware and ship it because I don't want this.
Fuck yeah, I don't even. Yeah, I mean, I like for my example of that, like when growing up, I was spoiled when it came to food. Like we weren't rich by any extent, but my dad was a trained Italian chef.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay,
like, we ate great.
Yeah,
like, and so I remember I don't remember, but I remember being told about this where I was like 5 or whatever, go to a sleepover at a friend's house, and they make spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorites.
Yes.
And then I try it, and I'm like, can I just have like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Yeah.
Something like anything else. Anything else. Like I don't want this bastardization of my favorite meal.
Yeah.
And like the mom told my mom the next day, and my mom was so embarrassed, and she was just like, "Yeah,
our son has a refined palate.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
he eats good food at home. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like that day, I learned that I should be nicer and finish the food anyway.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. It's like people don't know that their food is bad.
No, they have no idea.
Like my stepmom would bake chicken wings and then just put seasoning salt on them. So they'd be like dried to a fucking crisp, not separated with the tip on it still. And then like she would get mad that I would eat like chicken wings at like a restaurant, like at a wing place.
Yeah.
You're like, you don't eat my chicken wings. And like even my dad was just like they're not quite the same, honey. Like it's like one of the rare occasions he defended me.
Because like, yo, a chicken wing, it needs like I love chicken wings, but they need help. They can't just be a piece of chicken. Like that's just what?
Not fried. Just baked to crisp.
Yeah, because it's like you can bake some good chicken wings, but you gotta douse them in some sauce before you even throw them in there.
Yeah, like I don't think I ate a steak that wasn't well done until I was like 18.
Oh wow, oh my god. There are so many places that are so sad to hear that. Like,
bro,
like wow. I just see that was the thing. It's like I grew up with high standards of cooking, so like I would if I was going to somebody's house and I wasn't sure about how their food was going to be, I would offer to cook.
Oh, dude, yeah. Like our family cookbook had like this was in what I remember this very distinctly. I can't remember what it was, something meatballs, but it was like, buy this brand of frozen meatball, buy this brand of barbecue sauce, throw in crock pot at medium. Like that was the recipe.
Oh God, those are instructions. That's not a recipe.
That's right.
Oh God. Oh man, that is why that reputation exists. Like that stereotype is out there because it's just like
because it's real.
Yeah, it's one of the realer ones because I don't. And like I've taught a lot of my friends how to cook.
Yeah, okay.
Their families just didn't prepare them for the world, and we ended up living together. And they're like, "This is good food," and I'm like, "Yeah." Like food can be good. Like there isn't a lot of things you got to do to make most meals good. Like it's just accept that you have to season it first off, and that you should season it every step of the way. Every time you add something, add a little seasoning. Like it's one of those base things. And like I will be getting back to one of the next projects that Mickey and I look forward to doing when in the fall after we finish shooting this summer is I want to bring back my cooking show.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that's right. You did like weed recipes and stuff, right?
Yeah, well, I did like weed and non-weed recipes.
Yeah, okay.
Like mainly weed. Like I would at least be high the whole time.
Yeah.
And that was apparent. But yeah, so I'll basically be teaching Mickey how to cook things.
That's so fun.
Yeah,
I like that.
So it'll be like he'll have the banter the whole time, and it'll be a lot of fun because like I love cooking and I love teaching people how to cook.
Yeah.
Just because it's, to me, like, I've been doing it since I was a kid, and like it was one of those things where I was like, I loved it right out the gate. And so like I always thought I was good at cooking, and so like I always put effort into being better at cooking.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people I feel like don't get that kind of positive reinforcement when it comes to it.
Yeah.
Right. And so they're just like, oh, I'm not a good cook, or like I don't belong in the kitchen kind of thing. Where it's like, no, everybody belongs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
how else are you gonna get the meal you want?
That's right. Yeah.
So,
even I have I've got the ones that I do well. It's not a lot of them, but
no, but I mean that's the thing. But that's where it starts, right? It starts with a couple, and then you slowly expand and you experiment with trying things, and you're like, oh, okay, and like you like because it's all about knowing a couple main techniques for things, and then like once you know how to do that, then you can apply it to so many things.
Yeah.
Like, once you know how to pan-sear something, you can pan-sear most things, right?
Well, and then once you learn how to do it right, then you like realize how bad the other things are. Like one of the things I always make pancakes from scratch, like from scratch. I sour the milk with vinegar, like
Nice.
I do it the full. And then a few weeks ago, like my wife had pancake mix, and I tried like pancakes from a mix for the first time in years. I was like, this is terrible. My pancakes are so much better than this.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if you buy the mix, there's like, because it's like buying pre-made pasta sauce, right? Like you don't just eat it that way. Like you buy it and you got to doctor it up a little bit.
No, mine are just. I mean, and it's not even that like crazy to do. It's like 5 powders.
Oh yeah, that's all it is.
Right?
It's 5 powders, an egg, and a cup
Some
of
butter,
milk. Like,
milk. It's it's not crazy.
Whatever oil you want to use, like it's they're really not that complicated, but when done well, they are phenomenal. Oh no, I always add. There's always like a little debate for some people whether or not to like add vanilla or whatever. Like I always add vanilla to my.
Yeah, that's a good. Just a drop or two.
Just a drop or two. Because you don't need a ton. Like, and then I also depending, because like the ingredients for like pumpkin spice.
No.
It's just cinnamon, allspice, nutmeg, ginger.
Yeah.
Like that's basically it.
Really? Yeah. It's very simple. Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
And so like you can just. I throw those into like so many things because it does make a lot of stuff taste better. I would never admit that to Starbucks, but like,
we've diverted so far from Douche Rehab, but it's fine. Well, I feel like there's so many things that I wanted to talk about. You have all these new things in your life.
Yeah,
like you are engaged.
Yep, I'm engaged.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
I was so thrilled to hear.
Yeah. No, it's exciting. We're gonna do a 2-parter, which is gonna be fun. We're gonna do like a small little thing, and then we'll do like a big ceremony probably in like 2025, 2026.
Okay.
So like, because we want to have money for the big ceremony, and we want it to not hurt.
Well, I mean, I can tell you from experience, you'll never meet anybody, and I say this to everybody, you'll never meet anyone who said, I wish my wedding was bigger.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
So what do you mean? So you'll do two, like, is there one, like, you want to get married quickly? Like, soon?
Yeah.
That you'll do small? Or
we'll just do like a little small one. Just because, like, we've wanted to be married for a while.
Yeah.
And, like, but we want to do a big event because, like, the hard part is, like, our parents probably won't be able to make the small one.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
And so it's like getting our parents there and like our friends from out of the country there. Like that's going to take a lot more organizing than we feel like waiting for.
Yes. Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
So like we're gonna do it to like have it be done, and then we're gonna throw a big party and like act like we didn't do it with everybody else.
Yeah. My brother and my sister-in-law did that. Yeah. They're like they did it at the city hall, and then they did they did it legally, but then they, the church one happened like later.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah. And so like, because I want to be able to make like an event out of it. And like, cause I also want to be able to give people a chance to know that like they're coming to it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And cause like, it's going to be a destination wedding for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just cause of the nature of our friends.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you're a very international man.
Yeah. Like that's one of the things like I love about my fiance is because she's also like traveled and lived all over the place, and so we both get that. And we were actually just talking about our plans, and like I've already got like my next plan is my next show that I want to write and shoot is based in Europe.
Okay.
And so like the next plan is to like get out there in a year or two, and hopefully start shooting that, which will be fun.
That's awesome.
Because like Douche Rehab is kind of like a it's like it's Always Sunny meets Community.
Okay. Yeah.
Whereas like this one, the one that'll be in Europe is kind of like I don't want to say Emily in Paris, but just because that's like an American being somewhere.
But it's like, I know nothing about that show.
Yeah, no, same. Like I don't actually know anything about it, but like I heard, like what I heard, like people did like it, but she was also like a rather ditzy character. I haven't actually watched it, so don't take my word on this. But it's basically like it's kind of like taking In Living Color, and like putting it in Europe.
Oh, that's all. Okay.
And like, but it's like an aspect of like everybody's from somewhere else, and so like it's a cohesive group of friends that are a bit codependent, but like they'll be like they all come together there, and so it'll either be shot in Prague or Lisbon, probably Prague because it's a bit cheaper.
Yeah. I hear Czech Republic is beautiful, though.
Oh, it's fucking gorgeous. One of my favorite places I've ever lived, which is also part of the reason I want to go back.
Yeah.
It's like the food is good for that region of Europe. The beer is amazing, and the people are just really nice. Like it's where like the old Bohemian lifestyle kind of like comes from, right? Bavaria, kind of that whole thing. And so it's steeped in history, but everybody really just doesn't give a fuck, and so they're just like, do whatever you want as long as it's not bothering me. And it's one of the places like their country code is 420, like and they smoke like it too, so it's fucking great. Like it's like weed's decriminalized a bit, so like you can find it all over the place. There's bars you can go buy it at.
Is that I don't think a lot of countries in Europe have gone like full legalization.
Not many. A lot of places are doing like decriminalization of different levels. Like Portugal is the one that's gone the furthest and decriminalized everything.
That's right. Yeah.
Spain has kind of decriminalized weed, and then like at least like the southern regions of Spain. But I think it's the same in the north. I just know like in Barcelona you can like get a card for like these weed clubs.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Canada's learning the lesson that you can't decriminalize everything without like without doing other stuff too.
Yeah.
Let's just decriminalize it and leave it there.
Yeah, just leave it there.
Leave it there.
Like,
Nothing bad will happen.
No infrastructure for anything else. Like, because we're gonna leave the foundation for enterprise, but not let anybody build on it. Technically.
Yeah.
Like.
I mean, the irony of that guy who opened the drug store and then died of an overdose within like a month or something. Like.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like, I mean, some people, it's not, having that kind of access requires a lot of self-control.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
You gotta know your demons and be able to fucking keep them at bay with like access to a whole drug store. I don't know. I feel like even with pharmacists, like one of the things you gotta make sure they're mentally sound a bit. Like, I don't know, you can't just have somebody.
Yeah, well, you're near the opiates. Although that's the thing, though. A pharmacy is like connected to the real like government and law. So opiates start to go missing. Somebody's gonna notice.
Yeah. But I mean, if a script gets filled twice by accident, like I'm sure there's trouble. But how much trouble?
Yeah, man. I mean, when I don't know what the infrastructure is for that, because I had a kidney stone, like this was like 10 years ago, and it got complicated, and I was on Percocet for like 6 months.
Shit.
Like it was the reason I started smoking weed again, because like I really wasn't doing it up till then, but then I found myself craving that like euphoric feeling.
Yeah.
And so like that's what kind of like got me back into it. I don't think I would have got into weed again had it not been for that.
I mean, but it's like the good thing about weed is it is a non-addictive way to wean your way off.
Well, I mean, I think it's addictive, but it's addictive in a way that isn't going to kill you.
Yes, yeah. Well, because I mean, yes, it's mentally addictive, but not physically as much as like other things definitely are.
I mean, I can't speak for other things. I would definitely go through like withdrawal.
Yeah.
From weed. Yeah.
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I haven't stopped smoking for a while.
Yeah. Well, I think the big one for people is sleep. People who, if you've been relying on it for sleep, trying to get off of it, you're gonna have some sleepless nights, or you should be like doing like melatonin or something like that to kind of help you through. Because it's tough. I've had that for sure.
See, no, sleep is not my problem. Like I can fall asleep most anywhere. Anytime. Sleep is not my problem. Yeah, my fiance is always so jealous because like we'll go to bed and legit 5 minutes later I'm already asleep.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm becoming that way. Like my father-in-law was showing us a slideshow that still happens of him and my mother-in-law's trip to the Azores.
Oh, okay.
And I was out. My wife was not pleased.
Because like I know I'm gonna be that dad stereotype. Like
yeah.
It's like I'm definitely gonna be like, oh, we're going to see a movie I don't care about. Like I don't.
Well, that's a funny. So you want kids?
I mean, I do kind of like I don't know. It's crazy with looking at the future. Just like it's like how much do you believe it's gonna get better? I do. To an extent. I don't know. It's not going to be like never has it been you're leaving your kids the world that you grew up in because the world changes so fast. But like never before have we been like, oh, a lot of the changes aren't going to be great.
Yeah. It's just like I was rewatching this. I found a TikTok channel that's just putting up clips from Office Space. and like the clip is like, we weren't meant to live this way. And I'm just like, man, it just speaks to my soul. And it's like, but where can you go to live the way that humans were meant to live? Does that exist
not
anywhere?
Anymore. No. Like, well, because I mean, I feel like, and there's a lot of things to blame, but like money definitely makes it hard to get back to like a simpler human society.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, we were told like this economic lie that like, you know, before money, it was trading, right? Like you know, if I had 2 furs, you had a pot, you know.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's a fur, give me a pot, you know, whatever. And like the lie was that like, oh, when like you didn't have like if I didn't have any furs, but I needed, you know, some rice from you or whatever. And I'd be like, oh, can I get some rice? And you'd be like, no, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
Right? So money was invented.
Yeah.
Right. But it's the way it worked before money was just like, yeah, I'll get you next time. Like,
well, I think money was the product of a diversified economy.
Money was the product of war.
You think? Was it?
Money was created to finance wars.
Oh, okay.
Like that's why money was created. It was for the powerful to be able to be like, look, I have all of this. Let me get that stuff, and so I can.
Here's a voucher.
People. Like, yeah, it's basically like because I mean, it was gold, right? It was actual tradable stuff back then.
Yeah.
So it was like basically somebody taking their hoard and melting it down and being like, all right, this is now for barter.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what it really came about with was just being able to finance war. And then we've built all this other stuff around it. And like that's how the economy has been created. But it's like, and then we have all these economic laws that we believe to be so true. And like we trusted a lot, and we thought, you know, inflation would stay low. And then we get into a time of rampant greed like we just had in the last couple of years, where inflation hit like 9-12% depending on where you were in the world, right? And it's insane because we're like, oh, but no, the market shouldn't do that, it should correct. And it's like, no, people are seeing record profits and we keep reporting it, and like we're acting like it's okay. And it's like, no, like this is a further perversion of humanity.
Yeah. It's like it almost seems like the decisions that needed to be made for the pandemic, like for the lockdown stuff, created these problems, and now they're just like, well, they can pay more, so we'll just keep charging them more. Like it doesn't, like we never went back to normal.
Nope. Like prices never came back down.
Yeah, like we measure the world, like it's almost like how we used to measure the world in pre and post 9/11, and now it's like pre and post pandemic.
Yep.
Like it's a different world now.
But the thing is I feel like those kind of world changing events are going to keep happening sooner and sooner. You know, whatever they may be. Like, and it's just because we're getting to a point where we've fucked things up so much.
It's like,
and like not to be like dark about it, but like we have. Like it's just we've accepted that money matters more than the planet.
Yeah.
And that's where we've gone wrong. And like, you know, I'm not one to actually I can't say that legally. So
well, I mean, and it's not even that. It's like but it's like the way that the people who supposedly represent the planet behave. Like there are some things that they support that don't make sense, right? Like the people. I remember hearing somebody talk about how like the climate change people don't seem to have an issue with AI, even though AI is going to like consume so much energy.
Yeah,
quantum computing like takes up so much energy. No problem with that. They're anti-nuclear, which is the cleanest option we have.
I mean, beyond like fucking putting out solar fields, like
yeah. But even the solar fields is tough because it's like we haven't really effectively made solar panels yet because they don't last very long and they're incredibly toxic.
Like the materials
the materials used are incredibly toxic, so they're not like as effective as you would think. It's like that whole thing about how electric cars weigh 30% more than an average car, and so that means that they use more brake pad, which means they're releasing more like vehicle like emissions, not just gas emissions, but like just other car emissions. Dust, like so, it's just like it's made up for it. So it's almost like nil. It's like there's no. It's like that thing that we learned. It's like there's no easy way to do anything. There's always some sort of a trade-off.
There is. But the thing is like it's working our way towards the least bad options.
Yes.
And like there's a lot of good things that have been popping up. Like I saw and I don't know how real it was, but like I saw a video of some dude who like claimed to have invented a machine that like creates like 3 different types of energy from like old plastic, right? And like basically just like burns the plastic down into carbon, but gets like a liquid fuel, gets electricity and like coal.
This is the thing. It's like we're in this like closed-minded society. Like, have you seen this whole thing about Terrence Howard on Joe Rogan, where he's just like Terrence Howard, the actor, like the guy who played he was in the first Iron Man movie, and then they recast him as Don Cheadle.
Because he doesn't do sequels.
Yeah, no, they didn't renew his contract. Anyway, there's this whole thing about it, but he's apparently like, if you watch the episode, like he's like a super genius, and he's like talking about how like the periodic table is all wrong and stuff like that, and how he created a patent for virtual reality that like other companies have used. Like he was the one that created like the original stuff for it, and how he's got like a patent for like. I'm not sure if it's but like a different type of vehicle, like a gravity-defying vehicle of some kind. And it's like, and the like mainstream science is like laughing at him. I'm like, well, can we try it?
Yeah, just
like
give it a whirl.
Can we give it a try? Like this is like I'm not saying he's right because like I don't know enough. Like this is the thing about the podcast. He's talking in a where it's just like I have no idea if what this guy's saying is bullshit or not. I don't know enough. But
there's no way to tell right now.
But if somebody's got like it's like scientists used to like actually experiment and stuff and do like wild things.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a lot of that died in like the 70s.
Yeah, I don't understand what happened. It's like the again, like Rogan had a guy who was like the moon landing denier, and he's just like, oh, like they got all these things wrong, and like, oh, they did it right the first time, and I'm thinking, well, but they were also did it with human beings, so the pressure was a little bit on. It's like the end of the Dark Knight, or in the Dark Knight Rises, where it's like he needed to jump without the rope to make it.
Yeah,
right. It was like we didn't have a little bit of that in there, right? Like,
yeah, no, that's one of those things. Like it is. I don't know, yeah, because you look at some of the shit we did before computers and stuff, you're like, wow, like the things we're capable of, and we've kind of gotten to this point with, I mean, and it's one of the things that I will stand by, like in America, and I mean, I don't know the Canadian education system. I've only heard jokes about it, but like, you know, I feel like it's been just a dumbing down of the populace. Like people aren't learning as much as they used to, and people like the education that they're getting isn't, you know, as rewarding of like self-learning as it used to be. And like people aren't learning how to learn. They aren't learning how to kind of think for themselves and kind of take information and develop their own thought. So much of what's out there in media now is, this is your opinion on this. All right, this is my opinion. Therefore, if you're like me, you believe this. Yeah. Right. Like that's what, like Fox News is not news. Right. Like we all know, like everything that they do is entertainment, right? Presented as news, but people take it as fact.
Yeah. Or it is news, but it's only one part of it. And it's all like, it's the elements of whatever's going on designed for a specific audience.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And so it's like, if you're getting this kind of spoon-fed idea, then it's easy for you to get stuck in a cipher and believe these certain thoughts, right? And then it's easier and easier to ignore everything outside of that.
Yeah.
And so many people have been caught in their own little cipher, and social media, as we know, doesn't help.
Yeah.
And so you're just like, we're all just trapped in these little worlds, like trying to kind of, like some of us are trying to find, you know, each other out there in the real world, but other people are like, no, I only want to find people that believe what I believe, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's good to have a community, but when your community is hate and fear based, then it's not so good.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, that's the thing about I love about being in comedy is that like it's this singular kind of craft that draws people from everywhere.
Yeah.
So when you're in it, you're just with people who will like disagree with you or have different thoughts. Like I love being a part, like coming out of like the church world into the comedy world was like so eye opening.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, and like the great thing is like there's a lot of Christian comics, like
Yeah.
you know, and like it's yeah, but like like you said, there's so many people of different viewpoints, different walks of life, and we all find our way to this one art form, right?
Yeah.
Where we all think we're speaking our truth in some way, shape, or form, and yeah, like it's interesting to see how comics and like audiences handle that, right? Like,
Yeah.
because there's some people where it's like, oh yeah, you can play any room, and there's some people like, oh no, I'm not gonna put you on this show
Yeah.
or this show, but like I will put you on this kind of show,
Yeah.
right? Like so like not everybody can fit every room, not everybody can, because like, I don't know, you've produced shows, so like you know that like you're not gonna like people ask me like, oh, what are your comics gonna talk about tonight? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. There's definitely like I love all types of comedy. I love the people who are dark and sick, right? But they're not necessarily the people that I'm gonna like book for the patio show I have coming up in Port Hope, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not for suburbanites.
yeah, and it's like you have to know that.
Yes.
Right? Like I feel like a lot of comics, like, because you know I do some dark material, and like I know that not every audience is down for it.
Yes.
But some people, it's like that's all you have,
Yeah.
and that means you can't play every room.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Like, and the thing is though, I don't think a comic, as you lean into who you are as a person, you're gonna have places like there are spots that I'm just not going to do. I know I'm not going to be their person.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's fair. I can do most places.
Yeah.
I think I'm fairly
you
relatable.
you have a rather universal style.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. But that doesn't mean I can do everywhere.
No.
Right. Like I can't, I have a lot of friends, a lot of people who just like, why didn't you do like Christian comedy? Why didn't you do like church comedy? But to me, like, I know that world. Like,
Yeah.
I was never their person even when I was in it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, and the same thing, like, I won't go to like the ultra safe spaces either.
Mhm.
Right. Like, I just know that I'm not their person. Which is
fair.
fine. And
Yeah.
and vice versa. I've seen people who come out of like the safe space kind of style and go to like more suburban audiences and they're like, what? Like, right. Like they're not that person for their person either.
Yeah.
But the world is big enough that if you get good at your craft, that you can have enough people that you can,
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's an audience big enough for anyone. It's
that's
just
right.
You got to be able to get good and eventually find them.
Yes.
Because like that's the thing. It's like a lot of it is just sticking with it long enough to get good and understanding that wherever you are now is not good. Like it's not as good as it could be. And like if you care about the craft, you want to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was talking to the last person I had on was Craig Fay, and that
yeah.
was the thing he was saying was that like almost the biggest deciding factor is if you stick with it.
Yeah.
That's the big one.
Because yeah, it's easy to let it go. It's easy to quit.
Oh, it's so easy to quit.
You know, like, but yeah, they just making sure you actually, put the effort in.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things like you can put time in. You can keep putting time in, but if you're putting time in and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing to get better,
well,
or like you're not even really trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I'm reading a book called Peak. It's like a Peak, How We Can All Achieve Extraordinary Things. I think that's what the book is called. But essentially, it's these two guys that studied people who are like the outliers, the Outliers. The book by Malcolm Gladwell was like based on the research of the guys that wrote Peak.
Oh, okay. Word.
And so what they say is they fundamentally disagree with what he says about the whole 10,000 hours thing, is that it takes you 10,000 hours to get good at anything. And they're like, that's not actually true. And it's kind of a misrepresentation of our research in the sense of like what it takes is like intentional, purposeful practice with expert feedback.
Yes.
Those are the two, and not quitting, obviously, but like those are the two. You need to be like doing intentional. Like if you're making the same mistake practicing guitar, and you do that for 10,000 hours, well, you're not going to get better, right? If you don't have somebody who's more knowledgeable than you, drawing on the experience of everybody who's done it before, then you're not going to get better. Which is why you see people who are open micers for over a decade.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're not making the changes, they're not practicing the right things.
And I mean, they're not finding anything to teach them what to look for.
Mhm.
Like, because the number of comics who have seen and I mean, year one, it's a fair excuse. Like, I don't record my sets yet. Fine.
Yeah.
But if you're beyond that and you're not recording your sets, why?
Yeah.
Like, even just to have like, oh, that went well.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't listen to everyone, just be like, oh, that one went well, let me listen to how I did that.
Yeah.
Or that one went poorly, let me listen to how I did that.
Yeah.
Like, if it's in the middle, fine. You may not need to listen to it, but like, you definitely need to listen to the extremes.
Yeah.
Because knowing what to do again and what not to do again is the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Absolutely.
And like, so even if you don't have like a full on teacher, but like, you can still find the tools. There's a lot of books that have been written on it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's a lot of YouTube videos now. Like, there is no excuse for not actually putting the effort in to get better.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it's one of those things. It's like, if you're doing it for a hobby, great. Like, that's great. Like, there's a lot of hobbyists that we'll see at the lab every 6 months or so.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like, oh, cool. Good to see you again. Glad you're still out and about. Like, you know, I was wondering how you were. But like, if you're actually grinding, and like, if I see you coming through the lab and you're there 5 Fridays in a row and your jokes haven't changed at all.
Yeah.
Like, you're not changing anything about it, inflection, nothing. What are you even doing? Like,
well, and that's the thing is like, I watched this. There's a YouTube video with Ralphie May at the Comedy Store, and he talks about like who here is like a hobbyist. And he's like, he's merciless with them. He's just like, you are taking up space. Like, there are people here who are trying to do this for real, who are trying to like work their craft, and you're just here to like have fun and have a good time. And it's like, you're just taking space away from people who want to do this for real. And I mean, yeah, like there needs to be space for people to try and have fun, but like, I don't have to like it.
Right. Yeah. And that's fair. Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, running the mic is like we're a space for all of that. Like, I get it. Because there is only a finite amount of time, and like it's worst when it's those people that ruin it for other people.
Yeah,
right. Like,
well, that's what people get mad at you because you do what I call a curated bucket.
Yeah, I do.
Right, you do, but I mean, you have like arguably the best open mic in the city, and the reason for that is that you put people on in an order where doesn't make the audience want to leave.
Yeah.
Right? When you have like bad after bad after bad, well, the civilians are being like, I'm out of here. Yeah. This is like,
I just shot my own show in the foot.
Exactly. Like, this is terrible. But like, at least, you know how to like infuse it with enough consistent quality where like the audience is going to stick around, which is great.
And that's why I say it like right off the top. I'm like, I pull names out of a bucket in various other places. Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is curated. Because like, yeah, I've run it just straight as a bucket and had my audience walk out after the first round and been like, well,
yeah,
now I'm not even going to make any money off of this, right? Like,
yeah.
And then not even just that, but like now all the rest of the comics only have comics to play for.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I couldn't tell you how humbling it was to be asked to go bullet for your open mic. I was like, oh my God, I've arrived. I got to go first at the lab.
I mean, yeah, it is an honored spot. There's
what a vote of confidence. I just, oh man.
Yeah, and like it's one of those things because like so many comics get in their head about going bullet, right? And it's like I'm not asking you to go bullet because I think you're bad. I'm asking you to go bullet because I think you're good.
Oh yeah, I mean at the beginning that's what people told me. They're like, because I kept on getting put up bullet when I was new, and I was just like, I was got to go first, and people are like, dude, that's a really good thing.
Yeah,
it means that they trust you to start the show off well.
Yeah.
Right, like I was like, yeah, okay,
yeah,
I'll accept that.
Because like, yeah, it's like once you get it from that perspective, you're like, oh yeah, well, I guess that does matter. So like, it is good.
Yeah,
because like it's like setting up your set, right? As a producer, you think about your lineup as your set. So it's like you put your second to best comic first,
yeah,
and your best comic last.
Yes,
like it's like you put your second to best joke first, and your best joke last.
Yeah,
like,
well, and I'm learning lately just how unique and special the hosting skill is.
Oh yeah, hosting is huge.
Having a good host, it's so critical.
Yeah, and I mean, there's different levels of like being a good host because like we run a lot of shows, and so I'm like I don't even host all of them. So like I'm watching a lot of other people host, and they ask me for advice and stuff. And the main thing to remember while hosting and like the sign of a good host is like they know that the show is not about them.
Yes.
Right? Like it's not about making the audience love them the most.
Yeah.
It's about making sure the audience is enjoying the show. Because they're there for the other comics. It's like, yes, you want to make sure that they get laughs, that like you want to get laughs, you want them to laugh with you, but like you're there to make sure that they feel comfortable and they're ready, like they understand what's going on. And like you're there to move them through the whole event.
Yeah, you're their representation on the stage. And the amount of hosts I've seen as of late who just go up and do material. It's like you might as well be Bullet.
Yeah.
Right? Like you didn't
you're doing a cold open.
You didn't do any crowd work. You didn't, talk to them at
Talk to
all.
them.
It's crazy. And and it affects the show. It
does.
Really does.
It really does. Because like even if you don't do a ton of crowd work, at least acknowledging the crowd.
Yeah.
Right? Because like some crowds don't want to talk. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. But like, you at least need to like be like, hey, thank you guys for being here. Round of applause. Yada yada yada. Like, there are certain things you need to do. Like, I remember when I first started hosting, there was a guy who hosted a lot more, and he was like, you want to get him to clap at least twice before you start telling jokes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And like, I'm like, all right, cool. Because like, you're like, here, round of applause for being here. And then it's like, oh, the comics are at the back, or the comics are out in the hallway. Round of applause for them. Right?
Yeah.
That's 2 claps. They're in show mode now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like, they know they're here for a show. They need to be paying attention to this portion of the room, right? They understand that like you're here for those people, all those things, and it really sets the moment for them. And like, I've seen, because like I watch a lot of people host, and so like I've seen when people don't get those 2 claps, or like even a 1 clap right off the top, right? Like the difference in the show, it feels more like a gathering than like actual proper performance. Like, with a show.
Well, it's almost as if like the audience is irrelevant. Like, I'm gonna do my thing for you. We're gonna do this like to you. Yeah. In a sense.
Yeah, it's you're not a part of it. It's just happening and you happen to be here.
Yeah. Right. Opposed to this is a thing that we're experiencing and doing together, which comedy is like it's a dialogue. Sure, their part of it is the laughter and clapping, but like it is a dialogue.
Yeah. Well, because if you don't get the laughter and clapping, it's just a monologue.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And a very, very painful one.
Yes.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's funny because people will ask me like what my like worst bomb is and stuff, and I never remember.
Yeah.
Like I have always been, like with my history in sports, like the CTE helps. No, no, like I was always told it's like, forget the worst play.
Yeah.
Like shake it off. Don't let it bother you. Right. And so like, I'm very good with like, if something went shit, I will listen to it. I will learn from it. And then it's not something that occupies brain space.
Yeah, well, and it's like you just have to realize that like it's just part of the game. Like I hate bombing. I had a terrible one on Friday. I just had this drunk lady. She had like 14 drinks, and I just did not know how to handle her. And she was just. It was one of those ones where it's like I realized like this is not going well, so I'm just gonna dig. I'm gonna dig to the fucking center of the earth. Right, like I just started bringing up things to hurt them. Like I just brought up Israel-Palestine, just for the sheer pain of it. Right, like
because once you're already you feel like,
I know that this isn't gonna go well, so I'm gonna just do it. But like I was talking to Gavin Stevenson, and he was saying he's like who's a a touring pro, like a headliner, and he's just like even for me, he's like still 20% of the time it doesn't go my way. Right, like that's the game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Multi-decade comic telling you that like 80% he only succeeds 80% of the time.
Yeah. Which is like it's one of those things where it's like you think because you look at somebody like that and you're like, nah, you must crush it every fucking night.
Yeah.
But there's so many factors that can go into it. Right? Like there's elements in the venue that can count against you. There's the way the show has been running before you even got on stage. How did the host do right off the top? Have they already been offended beyond
Yeah. Oh yeah, like I did a show when we did our little Southwestern Ontario tour. The first venue we did, we only sold like 25 tickets. Yeah. And the venue owner told me after, she's like, "Yeah, I think the local comics kind of poison the well here. So when people see comedy, they just don't come because they assume it'll be bad." Like that had nothing to do with me. Right, but like that was a mitigating factor.
Yeah, and it's just like because you don't know the market you're going into, you don't know what's happened there before, and because like there are people in the Toronto scene poisoning the market.
Well, I mean that's why I'm doing more out of town shows, because like Toronto is saturated.
I mean it is.
It's saturated with comedy, and the problem is like some I don't want to say a lot, but some of it is not good.
Yeah. No, there's a fair portion of it where like people who aren't curating a show, don't know how to host, aren't having a good host on there, whatever it may be, like are putting shows together and leaving audiences disappointed and not coming back.
Yeah.
And like, it's one of those things where it's like, I hate that y'all are playing the same game.
Yeah. Well, like, what have you found to be the hardest part about running the lab?
I mean, just constantly getting people in. Like the admin around the back end definitely sucks. Like making sure to pay out. Like, that's always annoying.
Yeah.
Just because like it's easy to get behind, and especially right now with like the campaign.
Yeah.
But like. Yeah, it's just making sure we have consistent audiences because I hate canceling a show.
Yeah.
And like I'd rather like even though it's like not the most practical business wise, I'd rather give away tickets.
Yeah.
Than cancel the show. Like I'd rather have people come pay what you can than cancel the show. And like unlike a lot of other places, when I do that, like I'm taking a hit. Like I'm not like a lot of people think that because I run the lab that we're like absolute or yuck yucks. We're like I run the bar as well, and like I make money off of the food, and like I don't.
Yeah.
I make no money off of the food. I make no money off of the bar. I only make money off of ticket sales. But a lot of people are mad that we don't like we. So it's like it's dealing with like admin stuff and like people being like mad that they think we're being greedy and not paying out more when we're not making the money that they think we are.
Yeah.
Because I had 3 comics come in like this week being like, oh, it's so great that you guys like run the bar and like you're making all that money. And I'm like, no, we don't run the bar.
Yeah.
Like, yes, like it's great and it looks like that because my fiance works at the bar.
Yeah.
But like, I don't run it. Like I don't make any money off of it.
Yeah.
But people are like, oh, you're making money hand over fist. You're not paying anybody. You're being greedy. And it's like, no,
yeah,
that's not at all how this is going.
It's just the tickets. Yeah, that's like any show you put on, and then you're spending like you're out of pocket for every show because you got to advertise.
Yeah, I'm advertising, right? And like I'm paying my hosts $50 every show.
Yeah.
So it's like if I'm not hosting, I'm automatically losing money. And it's one of those things where people, oh no, it's a lot of misconceptions and people just don't ask. And so people have gotten mad at us over time for like the way things have had to change just to make sure we can survive.
Yeah.
And
and that's the thing. I think like I mean, some people think like if I'm on the show I should be paid and like but I think that is a perspective in certain places, but I think like I think you need to have a little understanding of how this place operates, and like if we did it that way, then it wouldn't exist. Yeah. And I think we would all rather it still exist.
Right? Like, I feel like we're doing more of a service by being there than not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I mean, the people who will choose to ride with us will ride with us, and those who won't, and that's fine. Like, I'm not mad at you if you don't want to mess with us, if we don't like pay for every show, or we don't pay as much as you would hope for every show. Like, that's not. There's no love lost there. Go do you, boo. Like, get your bag. I don't care. Just understand that like I'm not trying to fuck you over. Like I'm not sitting here making tons of money and then being like, no, none for you peasants. Like, no, I'm in the game too. I'm just trying to survive. Like, I've got bills to pay, like just like y'all do, except I only make money from these shows. Like a lot of producers, most producers have a day job.
Yeah.
So it's like the couple bucks that they make extra after paying you out is still great for them. But it's like I still need to be able to pay rent for myself and the space.
Yeah.
So it's like these baselines before I pay out make sense to make sure I can stay open.
Yeah.
But I don't know. A lot of people are just like, like me first. And it's like, cool, you first. Great.
Yeah.
Like, but that I can't operate on that. I can't guarantee you $40 every show or like. And that's like part of the reason we run the showcase format. We don't do headliners or anything like that because like I don't want somebody coming in and be like, "Yo, why didn't I get $300 for headlining?" It's like because we didn't even make that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like, so, yeah, and like it's whatever. I don't know. I hope people understand, but like, at the end of the day, I can only do so much.
Yeah, I hear you. What's next? You got Douche Rehab. You're trying to raise money for season 2. The lab is still going, but you're talking about going to Europe. So, like, what's I mean,
what's
the future look like for you?
The future,
you're getting married, like you got a lot of stuff,
a lot of irons in the fire. Yeah, like, and it's I don't know the future. Like my end goal with like Word Entertainment and everything. Like I do want to be like a full on production house that has like I want to be basically akin to like a queer Netflix.
Okay.
With a bit of a focus on like shorts and independent projects. And so like I want to be able to make a lot of independent projects. I want to create like a production compound where like staff and everything can like kind of come and stay when we're doing projects and everything. So we have to keep housing costs and stuff down. But it's like everything's with a geared towards authentic representation, like making sure that communities feel seen and not just tokenized. And so the goal is hopefully I'll build that in Portugal. And then like we'll just shoot a lot of stuff there because I mean on a soundstage it can look like anywhere.
Yeah.
So why not? And then so like it'll be that. I've got a movie that I'm also writing that'll hopefully come out before 2028.
Okay. Wow.
It's a political one, so I feel like it'd be best to come out in a fucking election year.
Which election year would? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Because the American one is this fall, so 2028 would be the next one. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
4 years of Trump. That like.
Oh God.
I mean, that's what it's looking like. How do you feel about that?
I mean, can he rule from a fucking jail cell? Like,
well, do you think that'll happen though?
I so fucking hope it'll happen.
But here's the thing though, is like, and I get it. Like, Trump is obviously unlikable, but it's not like Biden is great either.
Yes, but that's like they are both bad.
Yeah.
But one is bad and the other is evil. Like there's a definite difference.
Do you know much about RFK?
Other than a worm in the head, not much.
Oh, that's so funny.
Like, oh my God. That's I know he's, I hope he's diverting the Trump vote. That's all I hope he's doing.
Yeah, well, I think that probably would be the case, but I'm not sure. This will be this is one to watch. I mean, this is it's interesting to see how it'll go.
I mean, because I look forward to because they haven't ruled on his first case,
which is that case,
or well, not even the first case, the current case, like the fucking
the hush money one.
Yeah, the hush money case.
Yeah.
So like, I think the jury's still out on that. Because I saw that like Stormy Daniels was saying in the court that she had been like coerced, but then there's like an interview with her and Bill Maher like from 3 years ago saying it was entirely consensual. So it's like, I didn't know she said she was coerced.
There was like coerciveness in it. So it's like, well, anyway, but it's just making her testimony looks unreliable.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's about the check.
Yes, the money.
Like, it's not about her testimony, whether or not they did it. It's about the fact that there is a paper trail for it.
Yeah.
Right? And
which to me is like forget about what he spent the money on. I feel like that's got to happen all the time. This isn't me being a Trump apologist. It's just knowing politicians and politics.
Well, yeah, no, they definitely do happen. It's just the only reason we have him on this one is because he used campaign money to do it.
No, but that's what I mean though. I'm assuming that happens all the time.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you've been a politician long enough, the way it works in the States, right? It's like if you raise money for your campaign, win or lose, you get to keep the money.
Yeah.
Right? And so...
But it needs to have been used on the campaign.
Not even.
No. Oh.
Not even. If you raised the money and it came towards your campaign,
yeah.
if you didn't use all of it, you get to keep it. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Okay.
And so it's like, if you've been doing it for a while, you just use old campaign funds that are now yours.
Yeah, okay.
To do that with.
Gotcha.
So like, if it had been his personal money, this case wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
It's just because he was using campaign
so
funds.
He's just dumb.
Yes. Like, he couldn't even crime write. Like,
yeah.
It was because that's the thing. It's like, and people, even the people who do like him and like they think that he's this mastermind. It's like, no. Like
he's not a mastermind.
He left the dumbest breadcrumb trail for this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like of all the things he could be taken up on, this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I just heard he also had more fucking files after the FBI raided him.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's just like, what the fuck? Like, anybody who supports him and claims to be about law and order is fucking lying. And anybody, because like it's the only reason I see to support Trump is because you have some sort of like racist or homophobic agenda, and he allows you to feel okay.
What if it's
that.
just for the sheer chaos of it?
just because you like to watch the world burn?
Yeah. What I like him just because other people hate him.
Which, you know, that is its own form of douchebaggery. Honestly, like bringing it full fucking circle to Douche Rehab. Yeah. Like, yo, you believe, because like that is literally just wanting to watch the world burn, and it's like, who hurt you? What is? Where did this come from? Why are you wishing that much ill will on everybody? Because it's not like the first time. The first time, if that's what you felt, honestly, fine.
Yeah.
Right? Because you didn't know what it was going to be. But then after seeing what happened and kind of how okay it's made hating people.
Okay, I see. Because I felt like from an actual governance perspective, I don't think he was really that bad.
I mean, he gave a massive tax break that
any other Republican would have probably done.
I mean, I don't know if it would have been as big, but yeah, they definitely would. Like they would have. Yes, they would have done one. Sure,
but I see what you're saying. It's the rhetoric.
Yes, it's the rhetoric, and like it's everything that has been happening all around the country since he got elected, right? Because it's been open reign on hate and fucking minimizing other people's positions, right? Other people's rights. Because like he first went after Roe v. Wade. Yeah. Right? And he's like, oh, let the states choose. And luckily, a lot of states have ratified the right to abortion, right? But there are other things where it's like Florida has gone so far against everything gay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Like they just banned fucking putting rainbow lights on bridges. You can't put rainbow lights on bridges in Florida during Pride Month.
Is it all rainbows or a specific order of colors?
I mean, I feel like it's Florida, so whatever they see, they're going to call a rainbow. Yeah. Like, they don't know Roy G. Biv down there. And fucking, like, but they're not the only state.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of states in the South that have done similar things, right?
Yeah.
And then he's also given such a rise to, like, these other politicians like him who are creating, like I said, these horrible areas of like the country, just making bastions of hell for people. Yeah, right? Yeah. Like, because there was a politician who was like, oh, you know, like after they passed an abortion ban in one state, he was like, if a woman has to drive 3 hours to get an abortion, what's that matter to me? Right? Like, well, yeah, obviously it means nothing to you. You're 75. Like, and you're a dude. You've never been close to this situation. Anytime you've had to pay for an abortion, you didn't have to worry about it because you had the money. Right?
Yeah.
Because like the thing is like getting rid of abortion doesn't get rid of abortion, right? It just makes it unsafe.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but that's the one thing though that I think it was the plus of it is that it allowed America to have at least a chance to renegotiate it in a sense that's a little more civilized. Because like even in Europe, they're not doing it past like 3 months, 4 months. Right. The idea, like Danton, the idea of aborting a 9-month-old fetus, that is not totally egregious to a baby who's capable of crying. That is wild.
Wait, where was that allowed?
There was no restrictions.
But there were state restrictions.
Well, now there are.
No, but there always were.
I don't think there were straight state, like in Canada doesn't have that either.
I mean, no, but like Canada,
like abortion to me, abortion up to birth is egregious. Egregious.
I don't know, because like I grew up in Massachusetts where it was 3 months.
Okay, but
like,
I don't
most
think that
states I knew like it was really only 3 months.
I don't think that's all states.
I mean, but like again, like it was up to the states to begin with. Like I don't know, like he
but
just,
if it was up to the states, then why does Roe v. Wade matter? Then?
He took away the mandation of it having to be accessible. Because that's what Roe v. Wade made. The Roe v. Wade mandate was that it's accessible in all 50 states. You can't deny people abortion access.
Yeah.
That's what Roe v. Wade stood for. Like, and so the taking it down was that it could be taken away. Right?
Yeah.
Roe v. Wade just guaranteed the option.
Yeah. But then the states that don't want it don't have it.
Yeah, but then that leaves people in a horrible spot. Like I don't know, because like it's interesting because I saw a thing where it was like because like a lot of the reason one of the speculations for a lot of the reason that like the Republicans want to stop abortion is because they don't want to let go of the white majority in America. And one of the ways to stop that is by stopping people from getting abortions because 60% of the people who get abortions in the States are white.
Okay.
And so it's like if you stop them from being able to do that, all those children are born. It slows the gap, right? It slows the closing of the gap for all the minorities coming in and having kids, right? Because like,
so you're I've never heard this before. So what you're positing is that they don't want abortion, so more white babies are born.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because like it's been a concern for maintaining the white majority in America for so long, to the point where like on the census, there's no like Arabs are considered white.
Really?
In the U.S. Yeah, in the U.S. for population purposes, Arabs are considered white.
Wild. Okay.
Yeah, because they don't want to lose the majority.
Gotcha.
Right, and so like that means a lot. And so, like, a lot of this abortion stuff isn't even about protecting anything. It's about maintaining populace.
That's wild. I never heard this before.
Yeah. And so, like, it's fucked because a lot of people don't even realize that that's what it's about. Like, they're just like, oh, you know, killing babies is bad. Like, well, sure, I mean, it is, but like...
To me, it's like, yeah, if it makes people be, you know, more responsible with their reproductive choices, then I'm okay with that. I mean,
yeah, but like...
reconsider that dick.
If it was all about that, then abortions in case of rape would never be an issue.
Well, but
there's so many states like Arizona that like took away the right for abortion, even in case of rape or incest. Like, if it mattered about only taking responsibility for your actions, then those two situations would always be okay.
Yeah, well, that's the counter argument. Like, the people on the pro-life side would say, fine, that we'll make that concession. Rape and incest, patooey, those ones will do, and the rest are inadmissible. And then those people on your side are like, oh, we don't want that either. We want to abort any ones we want. And then the rape incest argument becomes disingenuous.
No, because like it just like it points out the disingenuity in their side of like being like, oh no, this is what matters, right? It's only about your choices. Then if it was only about your choices, you wouldn't have cared about putting rape and incest on the side of wrong anyway.
Well,
right?
I think because it was more.
Those are outside, like those are typically outside of the woman's choice in like a lot of ways. I'm not taking all agency away, but like, you know. So
no, sure, but I think that concession is made in the interest of like, fine. Like if those ones are permissible because those are the ones that you guys seem to care about, then the rest are off the table then. But then when that offer is made, it's no.
Well, because
we want to abort them all.
Well, no, like we want to have
because abortion has become the last form of birth control.
I mean,
right? It's you made a fucked up decision. You're having the baby of some guy whose last name you don't even know. So now we're just going to kill the baby because you made a bad decision.
I mean, okay, so like condom breaks, still got to keep it.
I mean, then don't do it. This is
you're just telling people to not have sex.
Or be more careful with who you do have sex.
But the thing is,
but are you arguing for total indiscriminate sex?
Hold on, I'm as a human, I feel like that's my right.
Sure,
fuck off.
But the idea of a baby dying so you could live that way doesn't bother you.
So the idea of a baby not existing so I could live that way is fine. There's two very different things of a baby dying and not existing.
Yeah.
Right? Because like, you're okay with contraception, right? So you're okay with condoms, which have spermicide, which kill the sperm.
Yes.
Right? You're okay with that.
Well, yeah. Okay.
You're okay with Plan B?
I don't know enough about Plan B, but I mean, well, first of all, my position on this is in the air because I used to hold the party Christian line, right? I'm not sure how I feel about it anymore.
Oh, that's fair,
right? So yeah, maybe Plan B, because I think Plan B like flushes before it's a life, and maybe I'm okay with it up to like a few months. Killing like a fully developed baby.
I mean, 9 months, we agree on that.
Yeah.
9 months, we agree on that. But I'm like, anything before the end of the first trimester, I think is fair game.
Yeah.
Right? And like, the reason is because like at that point, it doesn't even have a heartbeat. Like, it's not really a baby yet.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's something, at that point, it's something that can ruin a life. Because like, if everybody who was so pro-life actually cared about the life, they would also be pro-education, pro-mother support, pro-family support.
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah,
right?
well,
they're just pro don't kill the baby.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about what happens to it once it's here. They don't give a fuck about supporting the mother, even if she's alone.
Yeah.
Right? They just want that baby here for numbers. They don't give a fuck about that person.
Gotcha.
Right? They just want the stats. That's all it is. That's why they don't care about funding education. That's why they don't care about making sure the baby even survives to be a good person.
Yeah.
Right? They just care about the numbers.
Yes.
And like that's the whole thing, but they've built all these other arguments around it to keep people kind of entrapped in what this could mean. And it's like, no, you're missing the point.
Yeah.
They're not even telling you why they really want to do this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like,
and again, like I think that like so much of this, because we're talking about America, right?
Yeah.
Like so much of this comes from my ignorance about America. Like I think that America is, because I'm a white guy born in and raised in Toronto.
Yeah.
I think it's far more racist than I understand.
I mean, it is. Right? Like it is.
Like in a way like that, I would find shocking, right? Like I see those videos of a guy, like people do it, like I'm in the most racist state in or city in America or something like that. Like how are people like this, right? Like that it's a headspace that like I didn't even think could exist.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, that's fair. And I mean, it's
so to have a political decision about like abortion to be motivated by race, it's like it doesn't even factor into my thinking that would be the case.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget the book, but I'll send it to you so you can put it in the comments.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
Because like that comes from like an actual book that like there's somebody talking about it. Because like there's three main ways that like the plan for like keeping the white populace. It's like either you stop people from coming in, and like they can't do that because like they can't stop everybody from coming in. Like,
well,
like
in Canada, for instance, like the idea, like if you stopped immigration, like you would destroy the economy.
Yeah.
We're not making enough Canadians as it is for us to grow.
Well, yeah.
Like that's just not an option.
Yeah, and you need. I mean, honestly, for something this big, you also need external money coming in, and that's what's been inflating our housing prices in Toronto. But
yeah,
like that's a whole other thing.
Oh yeah, well,
But,
that was the thing. It's like Canada is still like from an international perspective, our housing is a bargain for international buyers.
Which is crazy because it's so fucking expensive.
Yeah.
Like, and like it's getting to the point where like if you don't make $100,000 in Canada, you're in Toronto, you're broke.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend who was making $175,000 a year, and he got rejected every time he tried to buy even a condo here.
Really?
Yeah. He couldn't. And he has no debts.
Wow.
Like single man, like he was just trying to buy a 1-bedroom condo, couldn't afford one, moved to Montreal because he could find one so much cheaper.
Yeah.
Like it's insane what's going on. But yeah, like before I forget, because like it was like three main things that like you could use as for like keeping the populace thing.
Yeah.
It was like either stop immigration, which they don't want to do because of economics.
Yeah.
And then they would also like, because you can't pick and choose too much more than they already are.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's either that or you pay people to have babies, but then you would have to pay everybody to have babies.
Yeah.
And they also don't want that.
Yeah.
So
Canada had the baby bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, they don't want to give it to everybody because like that's the incentive. Like
what do you mean like that? People without documentation?
No, they just don't want to get like it's because like if you're looking at it through the lens of like maintaining the white majority.
Oh, gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha.
Like they don't want to pay people of color to have babies because
okay.
they like then that stops basically what they're doing. So the only measure that they're left with is stopping abortion.
Yeah,
because white people get abortions at higher rates than anybody else.
Okay,
which is also not the narrative that's led to people. Like people are like, oh, like they're killing all these black babies, they're killing all these babies of color, and it's like 60% is white.
Yeah, that's interesting though, because it's like, so I would just love for you to weigh in on this. Because I've heard this stat that like the black population in America is like roughly 13%.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
right, give or take, sure.
Around there.
But it has not grown. Like it's been that for like decades.
I don't know if it's stayed that.
If you don't know about it, that's fine.
Yeah,
but
I don't actually know about that firmly. The thing is, it's like it's interesting because it's like even if it hasn't grown as a percent, even the fact that it's stagnant still means the population is growing.
It's
because
just growing.
The population of America has not stopped growing.
Yes,
so it's like even
just
to
growing.
maintain 13%, it's growing at the same rate as the rest of the population.
Sure, so a proportional growth. Yeah.
Like so, it's not like it's stagnating. Like it's not like, oh my God, they're killing all. Like no, like it's not even that. It's just it's maintaining.
Yeah.
So it just means it's growing at the rate of everything else, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's more because like the thing is more people just coming in and like. It's them having kids and like growing numbers of minorities that way.
Yeah.
And so that's what a lot of like the panic over the border is, like making sure that we don't have a flood of Mexicans coming in.
Well, I mean, the fact that it's like, see, that's the thing though. It's not even just Mexicans anymore. It's like people are saying that there's people from like China coming in, or like people from like people from Turkey, like people from all over the world are now coming in through that border. Right, like, because that was the idea. Is the whole idea was like, oh, anybody who's coming through is a refugee, but like it's just like young men, right? Like from everywhere.
But like I mean, yeah, I guess it's easier to fly into that part of the world and walk up, but even then, like, it's perilous. It's not an easy walk.
Oh no, because I think it's it's through Panama. There's some sort of port that like it's that where they really don't care. Okay. And then that's where they kind of snake their way up.
Just like go up.
But like in order to do it, like it's like it's a very dangerous road to do.
Well, because I mean the number of things that are waiting to kill you in the jungle and all along the way.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, but it's like I don't know if people are that willing to go. Like they're putting that much effort in to come. Let them come.
Yeah.
Like the way I see it, like if I was ever put in charge, I'd probably be assassinated. But like, because like I don't know. I think like one of my first rules would be is like, yo, if you want to come. We're gonna put you in the heartland of America. We're gonna build that.
Well, so and that's the thing though. Is like I'm all for it, but do it in a manner which the host nation can support.
I mean, yeah. Well, the thing is like people come to the big cities, right? Because that's where the most opportunity is.
Yes.
But if you're like, yo, all right, look, you can come, and Canada does this to to an extent where it's like you can agree to like go to a certain like place.
Yeah.
Right. Like there are people that are like, oh, like I first landed in Sault Ste. Marie kind of deal.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can go somewhere that's not Toronto and be brought there for a reason. Right.
Yeah.
And like, hey, you're here. There's opportunity here. We're gonna help you get settled. But like a lot of the time, like there isn't that much help.
Yeah.
Beyond like, oh, all right, here's your card, here's your $300 for opening a new bank account, and you're on your own.
Yeah.
Have fun. Because like even with like a lot of the like recertifications that people would need moving here, right? Like if you're a doctor in like most of the rest of the world, you can't be a doctor here.
Yeah.
Right? Like you need to be recertified, but like the government doesn't help with that. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's on you to get those certifications. And it's like, yeah, you're supposed to come here with $10,000, but I mean, if you come to Toronto, that $10,000 is gone in 2 months.
Yeah.
Like so, especially if you're here with a family.
Yeah, but is your position that the host country should be supplementing them then?
I
feel like you should be able to get yourself up and running. Like
yes, I'm not saying you need to give them money. I'm just saying you need to give them resources and support. Because a lot of the time is like when you come to a new place, you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
You have no sense of community.
Yeah.
And that is very lonely for people. And so they have a hard start.
Yeah.
Whereas
but that's why the government has these things about, do you know anybody? Do you have family here? It's like why the point system exists.
I mean, yeah.
Will you be able to speak either of the official languages to make your way through here?
But like, not all of the things like, I mean, yes, being able to speak English is great, but like, just being able to find a community of other people who just moved here.
Yeah.
Right. Or people who have been here for a couple years. Right. And so it's like they know what you're going through. Because one of the hard things is like a lot of the programs that are run for these people seem to be run by the government from people who have never been from anywhere else. So it's like you don't really know what these people need. Like what kind of support
but I think
they need.
that's like in the past that's not really like why. I think the counter argument to that is like the Chinese community in decades past, where it's like there was like an association that like you as a Chinese citizen who came to America could like get in touch with, and then like that's why it was like, oh, this small town in America doesn't have a Chinese food restaurant, so like they gave you what you needed in order to start building your life there. It's like they supported their own community and had the resources available to help them.
Yeah.
Right, and so.
But it's like if you could do that for everybody who's coming, then you wouldn't have people feeling like, oh, they're a blight, right?
Yeah.
Like these people are hitting the ground running.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, why does every person who comes to the country work at a Tim Hortons?
Yeah, right? But it's like, why are you? It's and again, this is just a common sense. Like this was just a common sense question. Like, why would you come here if you had no viable way to live?
I mean,
like in a country where you can like easily freeze to death. Right? Like, why would you take that risk? Like, without it, why are you coming here without a plan?
I mean, the thing is like even your best laid plans can go to waste.
Sure, but is
right?
that everybody?
I mean, it's not everybody, but the thing is like I don't know, because even if you're coming, right, and you have everything, like you think all your ducks in the row.
Yeah.
All it takes is one thing to go wrong to have all that fuck up. Right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the times, like not even everybody who's like coming for asylum is just looking for a better life.
Yeah.
Right. So like they're hoping for more opportunity here, and it's like I can come, like somebody like from Honduras or whatever can come here, make money working at Tim Hortons, fucking live in a really small apartment, and send money back home.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like even if you have no plan, your plan is to make money and send money home.
Yeah.
Right. Like so you're trying to help people. You're trying to kind of be here positive, like in a positive way, and I feel like,
but
most people,
that's not a positive. That's a negative, right? You're taking this money that could some other immigrant could have been reinvesting into our economy, and instead you're taking money out and sending it back.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. The thing
that's
is,
the definition of negative.
The thing is, like with every bit that they do send home, to be fair, like there's people coming in and spending. You know? Like nobody is sending. I feel like it's not a massive amount that leaves. I would have to, like, I'm sure the government knows how much money is leaving.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Like, because it's not that hard to figure out. But it's like it's also that's not everybody. Right?
No, of course not.
And a lot of people that do come, they do have a plan. But it's like, I if I was a doctor back home, but I'm not allowed to be a doctor here.
Well, I think it depends on the country, though, too.
I mean, yeah, but like it's for like much of Asia, like India, like the Middle East, I believe too. It's like if you come from Europe, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
But like if you come from not Europe, I'm pretty sure your certs don't match.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works.
Because like I know for doctors like who are studying here, like you can go and study in America, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And vice versa for like American doctors coming to study here.
Yes.
That's fine. But like I know for like if you are a doctor, like in China, for example, and you come here,
yeah,
like you have to get recertified.
Yeah.
And so
but if you're so you would hope that your training is sufficient that you could pass that recertification.
Yeah. But like a lot of the access to it, it seems like it's not that easy to get to, and like a lot of it may just come with like a little more access to like, because it may just be an English barrier where it's like, yeah, your English is good, but it's not that great, right?
Yeah.
So we need to get you a little bit up, like you might need to study terms, whatever. But it's like helping people get back to that versus letting them just drive Uber.
I mean, it definitely seems Canada has very much changed.
Mm-hmm.
It seems very different because I think that like our immigration and having diversity, at least definitely in the GTA, was something that we were always very proud of.
Yeah.
And it was like we weren't, and we prided ourselves on being different than America in that sense, right? Like America was the melting pot, right? You all, and then we called ourselves, we call ourselves the toss salad, right?
Oh, the toss salad. I heard the soup.
No, yeah, no. That's the toss salad. That's how the toss salad. We were like, we're all in the same bowl, but we're different. We're different ingredients, but we're all part of the same thing, right? It was the difference between assimilation and integration, right? And
which is it's a very different stance, right?
But now we see it's like there are some groups that like aren't integrating at all. Where it's like you don't want to be part of what it was that we were doing here, right? And it seems as though the opportunities that were offered for you to be able to create that better life here are less, right? Where if you come here and get a job at Tim Hortons, like I'd be shocked that they made enough money to send back home. In how things are now.
I mean, especially now.
Like now, it's like you come here and it's basically indentured servitude. Hopefully, your children would be able to have a clean slate to build off of and build that life that you wanted to, but you will never be able to get far enough ahead financially to create.
Staying at a Tim Hortons. And like it's so much. I mean, like the reason so many people land at a Tim Hortons is because it's just you're required to have Canadian experience.
Yeah. Okay.
Before most other companies will hire you.
Yes.
So even if you were like a fucking accountant somewhere else, a company will be like, oh, but you don't have any Canadian experience, so we're gonna pass.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And so then you end up working at a Tim Hortons or like
so it's just
bar.
so it's just the way of like getting something on your resume that you can build from.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, but it's just it's so weird to have this Canadian experience.
Yeah.
Like to just require that.
Yeah.
Because it's like if I have skills in something else, why can't I get my Canadian experience with you?
Yeah.
If I have the skills for what you need,
yeah.
but I just haven't worked here before.
Yeah.
Why is that the caveat?
Yeah.
Right. And so, because like it's a lot of things. Where, like,
well, people. Yeah, I guess people don't want to take a chance anymore.
Yeah.
Right. They're just rather not. But again, that's not like I haven't had to hire anybody. I don't know.
Yeah, like I mean, it's a weird thing because it's just like it feels almost xenophobic.
It's honestly, Canada seems more xenophobic than I ever remember it being right now.
Yeah. Like in just so many ways, and like that, I feel like that's also the Trump effect coming to y'all.
Yeah,
because he's just made it seem more okay.
Yeah,
because like it's just like, oh, I don't like this, and like it's like, yeah, you're allowed to talk about what you don't like in the government or whatever, but it's like you're not supposed to be attacking particular groups the way people are, right? Like we all came to this portion of the world for freedom,
yes,
and then now your idea of freedom is telling me I'm shit.
Yeah, okay.
Like, how is that okay?
Yeah.
Because that's basically what they're saying is like, my freedom is the ability to say whatever I want, whenever I want. But it's like, your freedom is not to demean me.
Yeah.
Your freedom is not to take away my rights.
Yeah.
Your freedom is not to make me feel less than.
Yeah, sure.
But that's what they seem to be fighting for. Right? They seem to be fighting for this whole we will not be replaced sense when it's like nobody's trying to replace you. We're trying to work with you.
Yeah.
But you're telling us that we can't do that.
Yeah.
You know, we're the problem, but you're the one not opening up.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
And so it's like it's this weird thing of like, yeah, you know, you think you're protecting something and all you're protecting is your ego.
Yeah.
You're not protecting the ideals of America or of Canada, like by being this way. You're actually betraying them.
Yeah.
Because like all of our constitutions are supposed like they say we're supposed to be welcoming.
Yeah.
You know? Like they say we're supposed to uphold people's rights and make sure that we look out for the people who are downtrodden.
Yeah.
But we don't.
Do you think that like, and this is to play devil's advocate, and like I feel like we were at like 2 fucking hours or something.
I mean,
like,
yeah, we've been rolling for a minute.
But also, do you think that there's a sense of like when that whole like give us your poor, give us your downtrodden or whatever, like that came in an era when there was opportunity to give, and now it feels like everybody is struggling? Does it like do you think it comes from that?
I mean, it does, but it comes from a time when...
And this is me defending it, but it's like, where did that change come from? In the sense of like, we're all fucking struggling here. Like, did you see the thing in the, like that guy, that Indian dude that got in shit who was going to Waterloo about like how he gets money from the food bank to save, like he gets food from the food bank to save money?
No.
And like people went ape shit.
Shit, no, I did not.
Right, like like an Indian immigrant who's a student who's just like, this is how I save money. I go to all these food banks, and people are like you're like, and this is true. When you come as a foreign student or whatever, you're supposed to have enough money to be able to support yourself, and so it looks on the face of it exploitive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's not great. I mean, that's not great. But the thing is like, the thing we forget so easily is that money and economics are fictional. They're concepts we created. They are not laws of nature.
Yeah.
Right? If money stopped existing tomorrow, the sun's still going to rise. You're still going to be hungry. Right?
Yeah.
Like, those are real things.
Yeah.
Money is not. We've just created so much around these ideas of money and economy. There's always enough money because it's a figment of our fucking imagination, especially now when it's not even backed by gold or anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so it's literally, you could print more money. Everybody could be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's
literally everybody
it's more
could.
just like, how could we, like, that going back to that Office Space quote, like, we weren't meant to live this way. And
We
it's
weren't.
like, and how can we get back to that? And it's like, I don't know if we can. It's like we are we prisoners to this system?
I feel like everything is kind of a choice of perspective, and so I don't want to think that way. I do believe there are ways to get to something better. It's just we all have to accept that we have to want to get to something better.
And that's like I've had this conversation with a friend of mine about the like there need to be like why is it that companies always have to grow? Why isn't like just making what they made last year enough?
Yeah.
Right, like why? Well,
because we've all got this like
shareholder
mindset.
equity is the thing that matters, opposed to just like making enough, and it's you can't grow forever. That's impossible.
No, yeah, it is because that's the thing. It's like it's only possible because money isn't real.
Yeah,
like there's always going to be more of it because we always keep printing more of it, even though we don't act like we do.
Yeah,
and
but the people, it's the middle class ends up like suffering for it, so the richer can get richer.
Because that's we're at a point of capitalization with just companies have never been smarter with how to separate you from your money. Mm-hmm. They've never had more tools at their disposal to do that.
Yes.
Right? They've never had more tactics, more people explaining it to everybody. Because I watch a lot of this shit because I'm running a company.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just there's so much shit. So it's you have to imagine every company also hears all of this.
Yeah.
Right? And so they're looking at ways to maximize their profits and all this shit and get every dollar out of each customer. Right? And so if that's always the goal.
Yeah.
Then we're always going to be fucked because we're chasing greed. Yeah. Whereas companies used to be created to do something.
Yes.
Right? Disney was created to create TV, right?
Yeah.
Or create movies and cartoons, right? It expanded within that, but it's not. It doesn't have to be where it owns ESPN, ABC, right?
Yeah,
Pixar,
where they manipulate the news so you never hear anything bad about Disney. And,
exactly, right? No company should be that big, but it's to get to the point where we could have a better society that doesn't operate off of such massive mounds of money is we'd have to kill our heroes, right? In a way of we have to accept that everybody who's made a ton of money isn't actually that great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
they are not the God saviors that are going to bring us back, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to be the ones to bring us into a new enlightenment typically. Just because what's gotten them there isn't what's best for society. Anybody who thinks Elon Musk gives a fuck about them,
no, then at the same time, it's I don't want to prevent the exceptional from being exceptional either, right? Because in a lot of times we do end up benefiting from it, right? We end up benefiting from their discoveries and their inventions, but you don't want to disincentivize excellence, but at the same time you want to prevent exploitation.
I mean, think about all the inventions that came before now.
Yeah.
Not everything was invented for money.
No.
People will invent.
Yeah.
Right? So people will always want to solve a problem. Mm. So you're not going to get less innovation. You're just going to have less stress.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting because there was a study that basically looked at a lot of the children of rich people.
Yeah.
Right. And they're what do they want to do? What do they want to become? And a lot of them either kind of follow in the footsteps of their parents or they become artists.
Yeah.
Right. And it kind of shows that if people don't have to worry about money, they'd rather create art.
Yeah.
They'd rather have something else define their life.
Yeah.
Something that they derive joy from.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So much of what life is now is we're forced to find joy in these little moments.
Yeah.
Right. Or you just sit and binge watch a show, but you're not really enjoying that. Right. You're stuck in this loop of I gotta get, and then I gotta relax and I gotta find some way to enjoy what I'm doing. But everybody's hustling so hard.
Yeah.
Just trying to survive right now because we've created this whole thing where it's now, especially with the inflation.
Well, and then social media creates this image that you have to do that. You have to do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you're not hustling, what are you doing? Grind mindset, all of that. And don't get me wrong, I love to hustle. I'm trying to outwork all of my competition, but that's my personal drive. I don't think everybody should feel that way.
Yeah.
I recognize in myself that I would have more fun if I didn't feel this way.
Yeah.
I accepted that years ago, being because my 20s were lit. I had so much fun. But then I was just all right, if I want to get serious about meeting my goals, I have to change.
Yeah.
And I accepted that. But not everybody who's forced to grind daily is making the choice.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're just like if you feel like you're making up the debt, or if you've got a lot of people to support, whatever it is, you don't get to really choose.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's I don't know, it's an interesting spot to just like know that people are people want a different world. Because I mean, it's all over the internet. People are talking about how shit is these days, but it's like nobody really knows what the fuck to do about it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like everybody wants to make a change, but everybody feels too broke and insignificant to make a change. And it's like, you know, it's one of those things like, you know, governments hate it when you know, try to rise up together. And like, we're seeing it with like the protests now with like the Israel-Palestine stuff, you know, and like the college kids on campuses. It's like, why are you attacking college kids on campuses? Do we not remember the 60s? Like,
yeah.
like,
I also think it's funny that they think a university can change a war. I think that's really funny.
I mean, but that's the thing. It's like, it's also, like, it is adorable and naive for the students, but it's like you're giving them way more airtime about it by beating them up.
Yeah,
and like then you're also making the institution look bad. You're reinforcing everybody's current hate for cops. Like you're not making the system look good. So you're basically, what they did was bait the system into looking fucked up, and they won.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like that's what that really was. Like they didn't even really know that was their mission until it got handed to them. Right. Like, so
I feel like this could like just keep going.
Yeah, we do have to just kind of end it.
I just like I saw what my next comment was. I'm like, if I don't do it, we can end the podcast.
I mean, that is the problem with podcasting with friends, because it's just like,
I know. Well, dude, it's like this is honestly, this has been such a pleasure. Like, I love that we like got into it. Like, I love and appreciate you, and I just like
same, man. No, this is fucking great.
It was so good, and then because sometimes like the person, it's like pulling teeth. It's tough, and I'm like, oh god, we made it to an hour. They're like, just like getting to the hour was hard. So like whenever I have one like this, I'm always grateful for it. Thanks for making the trek out here. I appreciate it.
Happy to.
And best of luck with like raising what you need to raise for Douche Rehab, and with your visa and with your nuptials, and like just you got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm in your corner.
Yeah, cheers. Well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate you. Like, yeah, thanks for getting me back on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, it's the grind to try to get to $100,000, $500,000, create a revolution. You know, trying to make sure authentic representation is a thing in media and entertainment. If you're down for that journey, join me. Follow me at Danton Lamar, or follow the journey at Douche Rehab, both on Instagram. And then you can find everything you need from there. We really hope to connect with you. Thank you.
With that, thanks for watching Half-Hearted, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.